Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello and welcome to episode 237 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I'm your host. With me as most of the time is Charmer, and also joining us this week, fresh off of being at Nationals, something that U.S. Nationals, something that Charmer was not, Brandon Hartman. Brandon, how are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah, that'll happen.
It was a long weekend.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm glad to be back in my own bed.
That's
the
whole thing, right?
Yep. Worth it though.
Darick.
Yes.
Are you familiar with a Michigan area fab player named Chloe?
Chloe.
Detroit area?
I was going to say, it does not immediately ring a bell, which is weird because I do feel like given that, just by volume, there's not as many, women that attend trading card game events that I would remember her, but no, it's not immediately ringing a bell.
Because they didn't remember you, but that wasn't disqualifying.
Right.
And
no, that is absolutely not disqualifying. Nope. Nobody remembers me.
There was another Grand Rapids player that I spoke about you. He's like, oh yeah, I love that band. And I was like, oh, okay, this is even more fun. And then Tyler Loose Leaf T, made reference to the fact he's like, I haven't seen Charmer in forever. I'm like, you talked to him in Columbus. He was standing next to me and we had a conversation with you. He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It happened to me. Like, yes.
Oh no.
It's so
to be fair, it also it's not just a flesh and blood thing. It still happens. When I was in Vancouver for Riftbound, I was standing next to Casanova, right, getting his after match recap, and somebody walked up and introduced himself. He was a Legends of Runeterra player, knew Cass from casting that, and he was like, hey, you casted a bunch of my games and whatever. And then he goes, I'm sorry, have we met? And I was like, yeah, I'm Charmer. I also casted a bunch of your games.
Get fucked, nerd.
Yeah, it's just inevitable.
I will say, Charmer, that
which is why I think there's a psyop. Just real quick, somebody for the most recent event that I was announced for, somebody replied that I was their favorite caster, and I think it's a psyop.
That has to be a
or
psyop.
they're confusing me with somebody else. That's the only thing I can come up with.
It's not that unbelievable to believe that people like you.
But remember me is different.
There's two parts to this equation.
I firmly believe that people actively don't dislike me, but very few people are like, also, that's my favorite. And that's just because nobody ever remembers me, right? Like I'm good enough to get the job done in the most unmemorable way possible.
If I ever had an argument against the concept of quantum entanglement, it would actually be Charmer. Because clearly his particles never establish any relationship with anyone else. So I'm the part of that breaks it. But anyway, we're trying to disprove a rule, not reprove a rule. But I did get asked probably somewhere between 5 and 10 times if Charmer was coming. I told them no, he doesn't play this game. But
He doesn't like us anymore.
Yeah. There's a list of people that...
It's more so... I mean, okay, first off, Logan is not incorrect. So I am not saying that. But specifically... The reason that I didn't attend Nats was around the time that I was getting ready to book this is when I found out about several upcoming gigs that I had to save my time off for. So
because Riftbound's more important. It's more important to go to Vancouver where you're not working or getting paid.
Okay, but I didn't take
US
any
Nats.
days off for the Vancouver one. And they had me participate in a bunch of stuff, and like my badge got comped and whatever, right? Like I was given incentive to go. Like that's always the thing. If I have ones where I'm given incentive to go and or I'm being paid to be there, then I prioritize those.
That's what I told everybody. So
that's literally like
I know.
It is what it is. So like I had the Vancouver one and they were like, you know, we're going to comp your badge. We're going to give you the creator thing. We're going to give you a bunch of stuff to like participate in and give away. So I did that. I know they're so pretty. And then the only one that's been announced so far that I can share is obviously I'll be in Hartford next weekend, but there are other gigs coming up that should be announced hopefully in the near future that I also have to take several days off for. So
yeah, cool. Well, I'm happy for you, and that probably will be the death knell of this show, is me being happy for you. But
yeah, I know. Believe me, I've got enough internalized guilt over it already.
I mean, as guilty as you can feel. But U.S. Nationals did happen. And
it did.
It was this actually felt like a bigger event than Worlds did last year. And
I mean, so as a spectator,
improvement.
I'll say this because I'm the odd one out here. As a spectator, I thought like presentation looked great. Match quality was good. Was very excited at the, you know, eventual top 8, because while there were some expected stuff, like when I go back to what Logan and I were predicting, we got some of it right. But then there's some that we were way off on. So, you know, as a spectator, it's like very exciting when you haven't said the word "fi" out loud in months.
I mentioned,
Yep.
yeah, I mentioned to Carolina, I was at, because Techlocore, Matt McInnes's business, had their own booth. No free ads. Matt, I do expect compensation in Human Monies. And I was talking to Carolina, and she's like, "What's in top 8?" I'm like, "Well, there's an undefeated player in nationals, you know, going into top 8." And she's like, "What are they on?" I'm like, 5. She's like, "What fucking year is this?" I was like, "Year of our Lord 2022, obviously." But so yes, there was a lot of that reaction to all of that, and little sad that they didn't take it home on Matt Gump, because it would have been another great story for a Minnesota local to take down Nats in Minneapolis, and they did put a lot of time into that list. But the funniest part about Matt Gump's entire run, going 6-0 draft, was he did exactly one practice draft with his team, and like one person got sick, and then 2 other people, like something happened, they couldn't make it, so they drafted with 5 people, with multiple people drafting multiple decks to try to replicate the experience, and was so fucking scuffed that they had no idea like if it was any good or like if there was anything to gain from it. He went, I'll be fine, and then 6-0 draft. So classic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's leap into nationals a little bit. Won by Colin Erickson on Gravy Bones, which we did say there'd be a gravy that showed up, so it feels good. Didn't say 2, but we did say 1. Rest of the top 8 was Ryan Rich on Victor. That was the Wolfpack list. So Dagan White also finished at 24th with that list. I think they also put a couple of people in and around the top 16 and or Cash. Ashlyn Slattery on Phi, Jonathan Magnuson on Ziggy, Aaron Grace on Acilio, Thomas Battaglia on Gravy, Majin, known cheater Caleb Van Patten on Acilio, and Matthew Gump on Phi as well. So that's 2 Phis, 2 Acilios, 2 Gravy, and then a Ziggy, which we did say, like that Ziggy Dark Horse was out there, and a Victor, which we also said there'd be Victor.
Yeah.
So really the only miss is Phi. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, I thought there would be 1 Gravy. I'm thinking back to like what I had picked. So I thought there'd be 1 Gravy, but also I was pretty confident that there would be 1 to 2 Marios.
Yes, that's where we were wrong.
That's where we were wrong. And then the other thing that I was pretty confident, I thought we'd get at least 1 Aurora. But turns out that was also just 5.
Right.
They were like,
just 5. Right, same deck.
Volcanoes are also lightning. Go.
Correct. And it seemed like the better lightning aggro decks were Acilio and Ziggy. which is kind of wild. But let's kind of like draw this back. So Brandon, actually, you participated in Nats. You were qualified, unlike myself, who got regicided out of that. But again, we'll talk about it until it's not relevant anymore, which is after today. We're done talking about it after today. But so what did you bring and why?
So first of all, you're the one who keeps bringing up that you got regicided on stream.
Yes, because I need to pound the shame out of myself.
Got to work through it. No shame in it. I'm a Huntsman player, so.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that he's on the show with me and you, and he's the one bringing it up.
Yeah.
I like the pain.
Yeah. So I played in Nats. I qualified on Victor a couple times over, actually, like 4 RTNs in a row. I made top 4 or finals or split finals. So I just had really good RTN season. I've been a Victor main for 2 years, and so now Victor's finally good, and it paid off. The problem is now people are practicing in Victor, so it became a little harder. But yeah, I'm qualified on Victor. First time qualifying for Nats, first time playing in Nats, and I day 2'd, and it was my first time day 2ing an event since I started the game.
Nice.
So,
well done.
Yeah, pretty successful weekend between that and then the showdown.
Yep. So you played Victor and Nats then.
Yep.
So what was your overall constructed record?
Overall constructed just 2. Yeah, doing math. Because I went 2-1 in both the drafts, and I ended 8-7 overall. So we 4-2 in drafts. So 4-3.
It'd be, so it's yes. No, there's 5 rounds in today. Yeah, 4-4, right?
4-4 in CC.
Because there should be 16 rounds or 15 rounds total.
Yeah, it was 15.
No, it's 16.
Sorry, you're asking,
right? No, it's you're right. It's 15. It's 15. You're right.
Yep.
So it goes 8-5, 3-4, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Or sorry, 3-5-3 or 3-5 or 5-3-8-4 or 5-3-3-4.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. See, 3
we
draft,
got there.
3 draft, 4 CC.
Yep. Okay. So
and we didn't say 6-7 on the way.
Thank God. We have gotten better at dodging that. But you just did, and that makes it worse.
You know what we did not get better at dodging?
Huh.
It's not 6-7. It's 9-11.
But we're no longer at war with the Middle East, allegedly. So you good run, obviously. Good, great day 2ing. Walk through your process and where you found the success, and then where you think that maybe you could have made an adjustment to the list or to the game plan to kind of take some of those wins and flip them around.
Yeah, so I played regular old Clash Victor. I wasn't on the combo Victor. People keep calling it Fatigue Victor. It's not a Fatigue deck, it's a combo deck. It is stacked Florian, but with a Guardian Shell. You're just making a bunch of gold until they turn into mites and then they die. You're generally not actually fatiguing anyone. But I thought about bringing it... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it just probably feels that way if you're sitting across from it, because you're not really doing anything while you're making gold, but I agree with you. It is more of a combo deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Same with my combo Betsy that I can talk about at some point. Yeah, it's great. I killed a dragon with it, which I can talk about later. Anyway, so Victor played regular old Victor. My spicy tech, really just my own personal tech, is Pack Perfect. It's one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite card in Flesh and Blood, and not just because of the shirtless man with significant abs on it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's fine. I can do better. I've got better.
Facts.
But, yeah. The just the effect on Pack Perfect and being able to play a long game and pitch stack, Peck Perfect into a Golden Sun, into a Thunk, to blow someone out of the water in second cycle. It wins me a lot of games that go that long. So just lean into that for any of the longer matches, into the Mirror, into Jarl, into Mario if we have to go that long. So that's normally that's like my only real like spicy tech. Otherwise, it's just knowing how to play Victor and navigate through all the inconsistencies that come with playing a deck that you have a 1 in 50 chance to hit a card that you don't want to hit, and you hit it, and then you're sad. And that's always the skill with Victor, and I mean with a lot of Guardians, but with Victor specifically, it's you have the variance. It's how do you navigate through the variance when it doesn't go your way, to take it so that way you're set up for success when the variance does go your way. So yeah, I started off the tournament really strong. I got 3 hours of sleep the night before because my body said no. I laid down at 11, and about 3 a.m. I'm like, cool, I'm still awake. And about 6 a.m. I was up, and I could not get back to sleep. So great start. I lost my first round to a Kasai, who on their turn, they go first, and they go pitch riches and garbage into draw swords and raise an army for 2. And then I get Blood Follows Blade on the next turn, and it got worse from there.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't win those, turns out.
No. Saw my first Clash card when I was at 10. Saw my first Gold Main when I was at 8. Clawed it back to get them down to 4.
They just got wide on you, and you couldn't do anything about it.
So I got to do the funny thing, and they were attacking. I would have been able to kill them on my turn, on my next turn. And their turn, they play Sharpened Senses and attack me with the sword. Great. I block with a Clash of Bravado, and I blew up the Sharpened Senses to take away Go again. And I blocked 3 on 3 on the sword. I'm like, cool, I'm good, because they were all out of their attack reactions in their deck, and I just had to worry about the in the swing in their arsenal. And then they played the Jagged Edge from their arsenal, their third Jagged Edge. I am not used to Kasai's running 3 Jagged Edge.
We have to now.
I played, yep, and I thought it was an in the swing. It turns out they took them out for Jagged Edges. So I died. So it was a great game. It was one of the Righteous Gaming guys. Zach,
sure, Zach. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So he played it really well. It was a fun game. But yeah, didn't get there. Lost round 2 to a Jarl.
Oh, we lost his audio. It's over.
Oh, mine?
Oh, he's back. Never mind.
Oh.
No, he was just contemplating existence because he said, I lost to a Jarl.
That is I would actually be in the same tank, honestly.
In the last 3 weeks, or in the last 2 months, I am 1 and 1 in 8 into Jarls on Victor.
Wow.
Because they all, especially this last one in round 2, found the secret sauce of draw a Terra Sunder and a hammer when I have a Riches and a Remembrance in hand, and I die, and I get hit, and then they fuse an Oakenold, and then they fuse an Oakenold, and they fuse an Oakenold, and they've got 48 cards left in their deck and have not shuffled, and have not pitch stacked. This is just natural.
Yeah.
And then they Remembrance, and they fuse an Oakenold, and fuse an Oakenold, and fuse an Oakenold. Then I got Oaken 6 consecutive turns, I think it was.
Yeah, well, you don't win that. But
yeah.
It is what it is.
By the 4th one, I was happy for them. I played nothing but Fatigue Jarl last year, and I'm like, you know what?
I ain't even mad.
Yeah. I'm like, Jarls live for this moment. So yeah, lost there. And then round 3, I'm like, cool, my first Nats. I am 0-2. I knew this was going to be tough. That's okay. Still here to have a good time. And then I look at Gem, and my round 3 is a Teklo. So I start looking for the nearest ceiling fan, but they didn't have any in the hall.
No.
And so I sit down and play the game, and the Teklo was a regular boost Teklo, and they boosted twice that game.
Oh.
On turn 2, they boost, and they boost a War Machine. On turn 5, I send a Golden Sun for 23 and overpower, and I pummel it. And then 2 turns later, they boost away Singularity.
Oof.
They never
Oof.
boosted. They never boosted again that game.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I managed to beat the tech low. They didn't find recall until they were at 1.
Right.
So did that, and then I fatigued and killed a Fang at the same time, with maybe one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do in Fab, or second most, other than the Ira match that came next. But I intentionally did not re-clash on an Iron Grip, so that way they couldn't discard. So when they drew up on their turn, they had 4 cards left in their deck, and they had a no block in hand, 3/2 blocks. Top card of deck is a no block. Next 3 cards are 3 blocks. I didn't make them discard, so they couldn't hold the instant, or play that instant, draw the next instant, convert it on their turn, and then draw into blocking cards. So they would only be able to play the 1 instant, draw into instant, and not be
They
able
couldn't
to,
go 1 card deeper. Right.
Yeah, so they couldn't draw into enough block cards to survive a boulder drop for 10 for exact lethal.
Smart.
So that was good. So we got there. And this is on 3 hours of sleep. My brain is already done by this point. And I'm like, cool, 1 more round of CC. Just give me like a Syndra, or just give me a Rhinar and let them kill me in 1 turn so I can get coffee. And I sit down, and it is an Ira. And this Ira was a fantastic player. Had super fun game. I got a little bit of an advantage before we started, though, because they sideboarded, or they had their sideboard sitting out to the side, and I saw there were 3 cards in the same sleeves as their equipment and 3 cards in the same sleeves as their deck, meaning they were running like a 68 card main
They were
board.
stacking, yeah.
So I knew I knew it was a hyper fatigue Ira. They gained maybe 25-30 life that game.
Mm-hmm.
If you track each card going into or out of their deck as unique cards, they had over 100 cards that went into or out of their deck throughout the game, because Swift Pickup puts Shurikens back in, and Remembrance puts Swift Pickups back in.
Right.
And Remembrance puts Sirens back in. Yeah.
You know.
So I was Kodachi locked for 9 consecutive turns, only being able to keep a 1-card hand. So I had to. So I won this game by strategically keeping exactly 1 card each turn, pit stacking Iron Grip into Golden Sun into Goldmane, Macho for exact lethal. And I still would have lost, except they had pitched 3 2 costs in a row near the beginning of the game. And so when they hit that hand, was the same hand that I was able to chain the Goldmanes, or the hand before I was able to chain the Goldmanes, or sorry, hand after I was able to chain the Goldmanes, make all the might, and then just pitch the blues into Macho the next turn. So by that point, my brain is fried, because that is one of the most complicated things I've ever had to do.
And now you get to draft.
Draft was fine. For Cecilio. That's what I did. I pack one, pick 1 Decilio arms, and I said I'm a Cilio, and I did. So
yeah, that works.
Yeah, 2-1 both drafts. I got knocked out first draft of day 2 by an Aurora. My draft started great because I pack 1, pick 1 to Red Cosmic Suture, and I got past a Red Cosmic Suture, and then a Red Cosmic Suture, and then a Yellow Cosmic Suture, and then a Yellow Cosmic Suture.
So if you could play Fatigue, you would have.
Yep.
Yep.
So I had a completely insane Acilio deck. I didn't take any equipment until halfway through pack 3, and we got a full set. So,
all right.
Procrastinate,
I guess.
get rewarded. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds like draft.
Yep. And then the Aurora killed me while there were 6 abilities still resolving on the stack.
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah, because we're just chaining, like singeing Arcstrider, something when this attacks deal 1 arcane. Seekers, Seekers, they duality me. I Cosmic Suture, they snap fingers. I Constellar Uplift, send one Arcane. They glide through Starlight,
Preventing to make the flow.
my last uplift from Arsenal, send one more Arcane. They duality from hand to shoot me for one
To
and for
yep,
lethal.
and get you for lethal. Yep.
It was awesome. Like, if
Huh.
I'm gonna get knocked out, I want to get out wizarded by
By a rune blade.
So, yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's quite a good run.
Yeah, it was great. At that point, I was dead, so just playing it out for fun to get some more victor while I could.
It's not going to last.
Anything. Yeah. I got knocked out of cash by a teammate on full arcane original Lucilio. So almost got it. It was close, but cool deck. I did unspeakable things to a Mario. It was a 5-turn game. I blocked with one card, and it was a trounce on turn 0.
That's clearly a speakable thing because you just talked about it.
Yeah.
But
that's
it.
That's the only thing you spoke about, though. The rest of the game was the unspeakable.
Yeah. I do want to loop back to talking about the Acilio stuff, though, because I find it fascinating that there are 2 distinct versions of the deck.
Yeah.
And usually when we're talking about distinct versions of a deck, it's mostly the same cards, but just a different, just a slightly different flavor. This is not that. This is very, very different. And the switchable gameplay of somebody presenting Ocilio and you not knowing what they're trying to do early in an event is a real thing now.
Yeah. It's, you talk about different types of decks, right? It's wildly, different ends of the spectrum. I think solely because Ocilio is one of the few heroes where you can actually live in that space due to the card pool, right?
Right.
Because in the past, when you think about decks that, we talk about different versions of the deck. I think of decks like Dromai where you had, Big Dragon versus Redline, even though in reality, there's still a lot of cross-pollination. Yep. Same thing with like Icelander versus Bullander, right? There's still a lot of cross-pollination there, so on and so forth. Even some of the like ninja variants, like maybe the closest to 2 ends of the spectrum would have been like very early on in the game. You had like the aggro combo Katsu versus Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
But that was also so early in the game that felt like very different decks because you had such a limited card pool anyway. So just doing anything different at all. But this is like truly like one is a wizard and one is like wizard in name only in many ways. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting personally.
It's a little similar to Stack Florian last year, where
you to a degree
you never knew what you were sitting against, except this time like you know that it's not the end of the spectrum of completely full arcane, or no arcane at all. Like no matter what, there's going to be some arcane, so you aren't totally hosed if you only bring AB1 instead of AB3. Does it drastically neuter your chances? Sure. Does it make the game completely unwinnable? No.
So doing our card pricing check, like we like to do on a very rare occasion. What is the current price of Gone in a Flash? No cheating.
Cheapest
69.
one?
Cheapest version, shipping included.
Shipping included. He said 69, so I'm going to say 6-7.
It's 60 even.
Okay.
So it's actually come down a little bit today. I'm not sure the same can be said for current funnel, so let's look. So current funnel, what are our guesses?
53.
Say 440.
35 is the correct answer. So those have been stable. So that's at least interesting. A little interesting nugget of where we're at with those. There's a lot of card prices that went absolutely nuts though over the course of the weekend. Voltaris, prior to the event, you could have bought them for 100 and $140, no problem. The cheapest one in the room at the end of the day, and this one was purchased as the last one in the room for purchase, that wasn't a cold foil, was $260. They're currently sitting on TCG at $250. Boots of Ominous Ward, you could have bought for $30. All day long, $60. Lightning Greaves is the wild one, because so Lightning Greaves if you would have been able to get them at their bottom dollar lowest, would have been $20, 15. They were available once all the Lightning heroes were gone, because Acilio wasn't good yet, and until that leap happened, you got them for very cheap at one point. We'll call it, because pricing data is so all over the place that they just literally don't have it available on TCG Player. They can't even give you a low sale price because everything has been so in flux. Your cheapest non-damaged rainbow foil right now is $95.
Holy
so
crap.
It hasn't been like that since
since
Monarch.
Aurora. Lightning Greaves was Aurora.
Yeah.
And that's when it was $60, not $95. But Rosetta
sorry,
Tax
you're talking about Lightning Greaves. Yeah. Aurora.
Sorry,
my brain for some
fine.
reason was thinking Storm Striders.
Or Storm Striders, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Greaves, even in the heyday of Aurora, but also the heyday of Aurora was prior to what we like to just call the Rosetta Tax that exists now. So,
but I'm surprised that one was ever that cheap, because feet.
Yes.
I know that I'm saying it tongue in cheek, but also legitimately, the Fab player base is kind of weird. So
yeah, like I said, Swarty Art plus feet.
I got to get some more Marvel Golden Gates to use for my Olympia wager triggers.
There's a joke in there, and I'm not gonna make it. But so there was a calling as well. It was won by Daniel Brule on, well, whatever. It's Someone's Limited. Who cares? As far as the hero goes,
he's on Aurora.
The draft was Aurora. His last draft was, or his top 8 draft was Aurora. Yep. I don't think he was Aurora in all things, but and we'll get to the showdown in a second, because I know that you'll have, because you bubbled at 9th, but we're gonna peel back a little bit from that and talk through the weekend, because I was playing Social Butterfly as per normal. Now, my intentions for the weekend were to scrub out of the calling, which I did successfully, and get my Marvel Rune Chance, which I did successfully. Nice. And get my Runic Reaving promo on Friday morning, and then cube all day Friday. Right? That was my goal. That's what we're doing. So I sit down to the World Championship qualifier on Sunday, or on Friday, and I get my Runic Reaving promo and win. Okay. Then I win again. Okay. Then I win again. Okay. Then I lose. Okay. Then I win again. Okay. Then I win again. Okay. Then I win again. Okay. So now I'm going into the last round with a win in. And then I lose a dice roll to the Briar Mirror, die, and finish in 11th.
Oh, no.
And so my entire day of cubing has been flushed for 0 value. And this is my rant. The entry fee for this event was $50. The only thing you got outside of top 8, regardless, was a Runic Reaving promo, and that's it. No tickets, no nothing. And then your top 8 got Bittering Thorns, the EAs, and then you get the Ghost Architect whatever's for top 4, and then the playmats and the qualifications for top 2. Only pricing. You couldn't sprinkle some tickets to make 11th place not suck so much when you just gave up your whole fucking day of cubing. But rant slightly over.
So did you get a tournament pack at least?
Nope.
Jeez. Yeah.
Nope, nothing. No, completely busted.
Yeah.
And then obviously in my tournament packs, I opened a yellow Malverian Skies and a blue infecting shot. Like, so none of the hyper $1 million reds. It's just the, okay stuff. I did end up purchasing a Marvel Movie and Skies red for the cube. But and it was interesting. So I bought the Rune Chants, the Marvel Rune Chants. I have all 7 now. I bought them because eventually Usurp will make it into the Runeblade cube. And I don't remember if he said it on the show or said it to us off air. I believe he said it on recording. And if I get it wrong and I get busted for this, whatever. But Josh did say, in no uncertain terms, if you like the Marvel Rune Chants and you really want them, you should probably get them now. I believe he said that on wax. So I took that to heart and went and got them and kind of was like, man, I wonder what he meant by that. And then somebody's like, man, did you see what's happening with Vincent right now? And I'm like, no, they're playing those fucking Rune Chants because it just gives you Rune Gate again. I'm like,
yep.
Oh shit. Yeah, it does. Oh God. You don't have to usurp those things to be good. They're just good.
That's what I thought when I saw them, was like, they felt borderline playable with no usurp at all. Like, it's just effect and
you get a Rune Chant. Your Rune Chant makes you another Rune Chant. Like,
right.
That's really good. Like, because that just pays the cost of all your shit. So you get to go Rune Gate 3 into Rune Gate 3.
They're basically cards that like you pitch for damage.
Pretty much. It's a good way to put it, actually. So my Friday got burned by that, and then I was like, we had tickets to the baseball game. The baseball game was gas. We got into that game, so 2 hours before first pitch is when the doors open. From doors open to first pitch, it was $2 beers. So we thought that $2 beers and $2 dogs. So my Zepbound taking ass cannot handle doing a $9.99 with hot dogs. But we were thinking that we could get a $9.99 in before first pitch. And if you're not familiar with the $9.99 challenge is, it's 9 beers, 9 dogs, 9 innings. We were thinking we can do it before first pitch. And we got 7 beers deep before first pitch. And had I not been, attempting to live a healthier life, which, obviously it doesn't sound like I'm drinking 7 beers in 2 hours. But, God, it might have been 8. Hold on. I think we might have hit 9. It was close.
You hit enough to Rune Gate.
Oh, we could have Rune Gated for sure. And
it's beer gated.
Beer gating it, baby. We're just doing it. And then it's like, I go grab a beer after first pitch eventually, and it was like a $15, and I'm like, fuck, I should have drank more $2 beers. And then Papa Mike, being a legit gem, brought me another beer later. And shout out to Papa Mike for 1, organizing the Airbnb, and 2, just being an all around great human to hang out with. He was with us we were with him, I should say, this weekend. And we had a blast just doing random shit throughout town, watching my Spurs lose, things like that. But it was, so we went to that game was insane. It was, at one point in time, the Twins were down 7-3, and then Cardinal Reaver came in and gave up 3 dingers, which, not a way to win a baseball game. Just gonna go ahead and put that out there. There was a rain delay, but I knew that the weather was supposed to be bad, so I got our tickets under the upper deck awning, so we wouldn't get rained on. We were just hanging out while everybody else is scrambling, and so we're hanging out in our seats watching the World Cup on the Jumbotron during the rain delay. So we were in a great spot, and we just had a fantastic time with it.
That's so Minneapolis, right? So it's Target Field.
Yep, Target Field. Target Field's a great stadium.
I've when I was there for a work thing a few years ago, for one of the like team building activities or whatever, like it was a conference, but then after the conference ended on day 1, we got like a private tour of Target Field. So like got to go out in the field, got to go through, all the locker rooms, see everything. And that's actually like a really nice stadium. Like obviously 100%. I'm a Comerica Park homer, but Target's field was pretty nice.
I don't hate Comerica either. There are only 7 parks in the U.S. that I haven't been to, so I need to actually get that done, but before I die. So yeah, I mean, I had a blast doing that. Obviously, had a blast hanging out with. So we were talking about like tickets and stuff, like what to do with them. So because like Bryn and I were done playing, and we were just hanging out, waiting for my guys were playing in the 3 p.m. Razor Reflex promo event. Both of them got a little salty when they kind of figured out that they didn't need to play in the 3 p.m. Razor Reflex promo event because we're all going to Kansas City together, which will also have the Razor Reflex promo event, so you didn't have to do it. But got FOMO'd into it. So Bryn and I are just hanging out. And Bryn goes in, cashes in tickets for a box of omens. It's okay. She's like, you need to go get a box now. I'm like, okay. So I go and acquire like the few tickets I needed left over to go get a box of omens. I get a box of omens, and she goes to Min-Max and buys a case of omens. Okay. So she's popping her box of omens. Or her case of omens. I'm popping my box of omens, and she's like, "This box was trash." I'm like, "That's cool." And I get to like my last 4 packs, and I'm like, "Oh, here's a Volteris. That's nice." And then here's an EA Coldfoil Browbeat. Well, I guess a Lyeth player will probably want that. Those 2 cards ended up worth more than Bryn's case.
I was just about to say, I know where this is going exactly because
she was not happy.
Granted, anecdotal experience, but the anecdotal experience that I have heard from the people I've talked to that have opened a decent amount, a couple of boxes to a case or whatever of omens, has just been they all feel like the variance, like on a case by case basis, it has been higher,
wild,
compared to previous sets.
Yes.
Like obviously there has never been any sort of guarantee as far as like your allocations go, but usually if you bought a case, you were in the 1 to 3 legendary range, right? Like a case usually meant you would get like at least one, and I've heard of
in Fab 2.0
people,
and beyond. Right.
But I've heard of several people saying like, no, that is not a guarantee at all anymore. So
she got 1 and only 3 cold foils. There was 1 box with no cold foil, no legendary, no nothing. So burned.
We had a couple boxes like that with our Madison crew, or a couple cases like that. One of our locals opened a case that had no cold foils, no cold foil, no cold foils, no legendaries, no rainbow foil M's, no cold foil EA anything. It was draft chaff, the case. I used just my tickets from random side events, and in 1 box of omens I got a Marvel Young Acilio, cold foil gauntlet of Sword and Sorcery, a rainbow foil Fortitude of Anvilheim, and then a cold foil EA a Crackling Glow, which
is fine.
It's fine. It's common, whatever. But yeah, a 2L and a Marvel.
Right. In a box.
One box.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's ballistically off. But we're going to get to talking about print runs and things like that later. Let's move on to the showdown. I played in it barely. I played against, I was 1-2, then dropped because I was just done playing. Honestly, That was really it. And I just wanted to kind of vibe and hang out with people. So this was won by Zachary Sochamel on Bravo Flattering Showman. Top 8 on this one was the Flattering Showman, 2 Oldhim, a Dromai, an Icelander, a Blaze, a Briar, and Enigma. So kind of the status quo. There's maybe, you think about Dromai Icelander maybe not being the status quo. The Enigma deck was a Minnesota creation, and that thing actually fucked me in the World Championship qualifier because turn 0 they sent or turn 1, one of the two, they sent the 3 for 8 with Fragment that on hit it makes you bottom a card and create a Ponder.
Yep.
And I freaked out thinking this is some aggro Enigma deck, and so I do need to like filter damage a little bit. So I blocked, which I just shouldn't have. I should have just ate it. And at the end, and I ended up fatigued because I blocked with 2 cards. So my fuck up, but it was that list, I'm pretty sure. and then Oldham's was Brody and somebody else, which I'm surprised that the event finished close to time at that point. And love you, Brody. And then we think we kind of expect Icelander. We kind of expect Dromai. We definitely expect Blaze and Briar. You played Rhinar
I did.
and finished in 9th. You lost to Brody on the win and in.
Not a win in it. So I played Rhinar. I just took the Auckland list from last weekend.
Yep, the Sigma
I've
list.
I've been fucked by Rhinar enough times in CC playing Victor that it's one of those things where you lose to a deck enough times. You're like, okay, I need to play this deck so I can learn how to beat it. So I played Rhinar a couple times in CC, and I'm like, oh, this is the same deck. It is
No Blood
trusting the
Rush, and
top-
that's about it.
Yeah, it is statistics and trusting the top card of your deck and knowing when it's safe.
Yep.
Same deck. So yeah, I'm like, cool. If I've got to play Silver Age, which is not a viable competitive format currently.
We'll talk about that in a second because I disagree
Yeah.
with you.
Fair enough. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna play this and I can't play Victor or something fun, something else, I'll play Rhinar because I'll go Unga Bunga, I'll go O2 drop, and I'll play combo Betsy inside events. And then I beat an Icelander round 1. I went first. Game was over. Round 2 was against Paul Van Geisel. I felt pretty bad about this game, just from a play experience. Because I go first, and I go red barraging beatdown, yellow barraging beatdown, pop monstrous veil, send pack hunt, quad intimidate 12 turn 0.
Take it, I guess.
Yep. So he goes okay, and he goes to 8, and doesn't give in any equipment, and I go 3 wide the next turn and 3 wide the next turn, and it was over. And then I beat a Blaze, and the Blaze went first. Have you played Rhinar Blaze before?
I've played Rhinar Kano. I've not played Rhinar Blaze.
Okay. Probably still relevant for Kano. But the way that I won this match is I sent lethal damage, which, that's how you normally win a game. But the problem is Blaze, Wizard, instant speed. The Blaze went to kill me in response.
Derek's done.
I broke Charm.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because the only way that's not how you win is with Regicide.
God fucking damn it! It's still damage technically. Go on.
So I'm attacking for lethal, not with the Regicide, with a regular attack. And the Blaze says, okay, I'm going to activate Blaze, and they remove 4 counters. So I know I'm about to get spindled or scolded into oblivion.
Probably.
And they immediately put the spindle to the side and put it face up. And I said, wait, hang on, I have a response. And they looked at me and they said, okay. And they left the card to the side.
Oh, agile wind up to just make him fucking intimidated.
Yep.
You're such a prick. Did you double fucking agile wind up them?
And they said they didn't understand. And I said, hang on, that card is still in your hand. Blaze, you banish as part of the resolution, not part of the cost.
Correct.
So in response to the Blaze activation, I discard the Mighty Windup from my hand.
Sure.
Intimidates the Ether Spindle out of their hand.
You're such a dick. And Blaze requires the removal of the energy counters has to be the exact cost of the card, not X or less.
Correct.
Yep.
So this now the funny part of this one is they had put to the side of their deck an English Ether Spindle. The card that they then send at me is a Spanish Ether Spindle, because I did intimidate the English one out, but they send the Spanish one at me, but then they don't have a resource to pitch to send the instant from Arsenal for the kill. Right. So I win that one. Round 4 was Alexi. They went first, leaked like 2 damage, and then I Reinhard.
Right, sure.
Round 5 was the Bravo Flattering Showman. I went first, and I leaked 13 on turn 0.
This is very Rhinar.
Very Rhinar.
Round 6 was a blaze. I won by doing the exact same thing that I did to the other blaze, and it was great. Um, they were like they were happy that like they were like, this is awesome. I never thought about that. That was so cool. I'm like, I'm glad you were not.
If you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah. Then round 7 was Brody on Oldham. We had a 14-minute time extension.
Was it
Yeah.
bathroom related or?
Yeah, he had to go to the bathroom, and then was checking my deck, or he was shuffling my deck, and I had Dragon Shield sleeves that were pretty shitty from shuffling, and he pointed out there was a couple cards that maybe had a different color or were darker or crimped or something, and the judge came over and judge is like, I don't see it. I'm like, I don't either, but I just sleeve these on Friday. Whatever, I've got another pack, so I had to re-sleeve the entire deck. Like, cool, let's go. And so we were the last match. So I'm 6-0 going into this round, going against Brody, and we are the very last match from the time extension. And so there was a huge crowd,
right,
watching. So it was that like kind of cool, I guess, because having Reinar that high, I guess I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, we had really good game, but I got fatigued. I missed 1 point of damage somewhere. I think there was probably somewhere I could have gotten it. Yeah, he fatigued me on a very defensive, very life gain Oldham list, like running Blessing of Patience and I think healing balm.
Healing balm.
Yep.
In there. Yeah, it kind of similar to the fatigue to the combo Victor, but without the combo. So yeah, I did that. Lost that one. I wasn't dead yet because I was 6-1. I just had to win out the next 2. Next one was a Bravo. I did the same thing I did to the other Bravo, just 2-turn game. Then the last one was the Bravo, and that was an Oldham. The last round was the Bravo that won the whole thing. Zach.
Yep.
I mean, if you're gonna lose one, losing it to the person who wins it.
Yeah, and he was super nice. Played great. It was a super fun game. We both got to experience the high of Reinar. When I went first, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna pummel a Wild Ride, and then send a Savage Feast, and then an Axe, and the game's over. And I send the Wild Ride, and I discard the pummel, and he blocks 6. And I pass the turn, and I explode.
So, yeah, you died. Yeah. You die now.
Yeah. He sent a Boulder Drop for 11 and sent a Boulder Drop and pummeled it, and then sent a Cartilage Crush for like 9 overpower off Bravo, and then I died.
Yep.
So
yeah, like let's talk about Sage for a second, because I kind of came to the realization playing Sage this past weekend, that it's not that I hate Sage. It's that I hate Sage locally. And what I mean by that is I played against a really cool variety of decks over the weekend, and that made Sage enjoyable. Whereas locally, I feel like I'm playing against the same 2 decks all the time. And that made me turned off by Sage. Playing this weekend, I'm like, actually, this format's kind of fun when people are doing different things. With you and Reinar is a good example. Like, a person was excited that you found a niche case in a way to interact with their deck, and they probably, at some point in time prior to that happening, had been very down on Sage because of the homogenous nature of how locals can be, and that was probably part of their excitement. Now, crossing that over into Sage as a viable competitive format, I think it's a viable competitive open format. I do not think it is a viable competitive closed format. If you need a quick explanation on that, closed formats would be invitation only formats. So Pro Tours and Nationals and stuff like Worlds and stuff like that. That's where it's not, because it will become a homogenous thing. There will be a best thing to be doing, the counter to the best thing that there is to do, and the people that are being too cute by half, and that's it. And that makes it an unenjoyable experience for everybody involved. That is the analogy for that is the mountain of dudes in South Park all trying to fuck each other.
Back to the pile.
Yeah, back to the pile. It's that is what's happening. So when we untangle the pile and make it so that you have the ability to play against some different stuff. I mean, I can list, let me think here. I probably played against 10 or 11 different heroes in Sage over the course of the weekend, and I only played 15 rounds. So that's really good. I also got to Talisman of dousing a Blaze, and that was hilarious. But when you just put, it's easy. Just put 9 cards in your sideboard for Blaze. Simple.
Or just kill him.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Is they do their turn 0 thing. I blow all my spell void, and then I kill them. So that works out.
Yep.
And that's more interesting. So it's not that I agree with half of what you're saying as a competitive format, but I think it's fine as a competitive open format. And I think I would probably say I'm TBD on it as a ProQuest format. Mainly because a lot of those are localized and could be very frustrating. But I think honestly as the showdown format, it's perfect. It is quick. We're not having to move the top 8 to a local game store because the event hall closed and we had to call the owner of a local game store and move the top 8 there. By the way, has happened more than once. And you don't have to worry about that anymore. And I think as an open format, you'll hear grumblings before the event, but you hear less grumblings during the event. So, and because people even get time to know, well, I'm dead on this. Oh, look, I still have time for this 3 p.m. side event I was interested in. So, versus if you did it as CC, there'd be no shot of them making that 3 p.m. side event or whatever, or having time if they'd won a match, much less 2. So, I do believe that my impressions of Sage have turned quite a bit because of my experience this past weekend. And then obviously you had your run, but if you're a rational human being from every time I've ever talked to you for the most part, that one game where you draw on cards, completely irrational. But outside of that, but that's more of your lack of pop culture knowledge.
Fake Artist Goes to New York is the game he's referring to.
Yes. And
Great game.
So it's a fantastic game. And that's where I met your husband for the first time. Yep. And then I was like, God, you pulled that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I mean, game recognized game, but and so it's you're able to remove yourself from the situation and be in the results orientation enough to comment on this. Hearing what I just said, what parts do you disagree with, if any?
So the overall sentiment, I agree with entirely. Like the philosophy behind everything, I agree with entirely. It's the problem I still have with Sage, and this is me personally. I am not a tournament level game design expert. I do not have official expertise in this area that I'm claiming of any kind. But as a player, there are some very, very unsatisfying or upsetting non-games that happen in Silver Age, and at a competitive level as an open event, that can be incredibly painful for players who are who we're trying to get to be more competitive. Because, for example, round two, this is Paul Van Geisel. I was super excited to play against him. I had never gotten to meet him before. And I'm like, hey, if he's playing Briar, if I lose this game, I'm going to learn something about this matchup. This is going to be great. And then the game was over in 2 turns. He had, yes, I'm playing Reinar. Reinar's entire point is removing agency from the game, from blocking. Yes, I high rolled the crap out of him. Paul has played enough games that has definitely happened to him enough times in other formats, and he's done that to people in other formats, I'm sure. But even he was rightfully a little frustrated that there was absolutely nothing at all he could have done in that moment. His run was over at that moment. Essentially over. If he lost any other round for the rest of the tournament, he had no shot. And so now he had to play the entire rest of the day after that really obnoxious loss, knowing that, okay, this was a 10-round event. In 7 more rounds, I have to win out every single one to make top 8, or I can drop and go do side events and not play this format anymore today. And that was, he's a very experienced player, and he was super nice about it, but he was rightfully not happy with that game because that wasn't a game. And that happens with Blaze. It happens with Briar. I had a Briar 16 me on turn 0 with nothing I could have done on Reinar, right? So the balancing of the format has to take that into consideration if you want to do open events like this, because otherwise you get locals from like Minneapolis who probably showed up to that Sage event just having gotten into the game, or there were people there who I know because they had the box with them and they said it. They bought a precon, like someone bought a Lyeth precon or something. I think it was Lyeth, and they sat. They
need a refund, but yeah.
And they, joined this event and paid $60, and then if they just have a Briar explode them on turn 0 with nothing they could have done about it, they're going to leave that format as fast as they joined it. And so we made our $20 off the precon deck, but we lose them.
Your argument doesn't hold water, and you know why. You played Magic. You know that the variance pendulum swings both ways. And you know that variance pendulum does an equally good job of bringing people into the game as it does of discouraging people, because people can just win on it with a lack of experience when variance comes into play. So, knowing that, do you believe that the experience, knowing that coming from a game that this was definitely the case, and anybody that argues against it has lost their fucking mind, knowing that that's the case, do you still think that the variance is too high in these cases?
I do, because I was on the good side of that variance. I picked up that Reinar deck at 11:30 p.m. the night before. I had 1 rep into it, or 2 reps into it, into Icelander, and that was it. And then I absolutely destroyed a player who is far better than I am, with no skill on my part other than Monstrous Veil drawing me a yellow. There was so little skill involved in that, and I did not feel good about that game. I felt bad. I did not.
I get it. I really do.
And for players like me, like you said, I came from competitive Magic, right? I loved Lantern control in Magic because the skill expression and the
you're a terrible person. Don't forget that part.
It's Pride Month. You can't say that.
Fuck.
That might be the best thing that's ever been said in the history of this show. Just bar none. Full stop. My new favorite quote in the entire history of Flesh and
It's Pride Month. You can't say that. Fuck.
The Blaze Blaze round 5 that I intimidated the Emeritus out of their hand. I was attacking them for lethal, and they tried to kill me on my turn. And I said, "You can't do that. That's homophobic. It's Pride Month." And I clarified for like we're both LGBTQ, and I'm like you're trying to kill me on my turn. It's Pride Month. That's homophobic. And they go, you intimidated me on your turn. It's
That's
Pride Month.
homophobic
You can't do
too.
that. You can't do that. And the judge walking by just gave us the weirdest look for like a split second of like hearing like intimidated and homophobic. I'm like, okay. And the judge, their alarm bells went off for a split second, and then they saw we were laughing our asses off. But anyways, playing Lantern, playing competitive Magic, I loved it because of the skill expression and how I had to perfectly navigate every game. And if every single game was just me playing against a guaranteed win, then there was nothing for me to get out of that as a competitive player. And if I'm a new player who is trying this game and hearing that it's competitive, if you have that competitive mindset, you want to compete. You don't want to just, be nuclear bomb against coughing baby, right? That maybe it's
But
fun.
that
baby
is
wins
that
that,
is
right?
not everybody. Like that's not even close to everybody. That's probably actually a lower percentage than you think. Anecdotally, really quick, during the World Championship qualifier, our friend and noted person that has no time for Charmer, Tommy Fresh, he wanted to get one of the promos from the World Championship qualifier, so he bought the Briar Precon or the Phi Precon. He's asking Jesse Harper and I prior to the event, like, what do I put in for this? Why do I put this in? What is this for? What does this do? Why do I care about this card? And so we gave him like a 7-minute primer. And he's like, okay, I think I get it. So do I block? And we're like, no. So on turn 0 of game 1, Tommy takes 16, then wins. And I'm like, what the fuck did you take 16 on turn 0 for? He's like, you told me not to block. And I'm like, within context. Needless to say, Tommy X1 to that event and made it to the top 8 on the Phi Precon. And this is the experience I'm talking about, though. Tommy obviously is an enfranchised player. He's as much as he can play dumb sometimes, he is anything but. And he knows the game very well. But at the same time, Tommy's not a ninja player. Tommy is not an aggro player. Tommy's, best known heroes are Leviah and Riptide.
Yep.
So this is completely different. This is foreign. But he had a blast doing this shit. So we can't classify him as a new player, but we can classify it as a new player experience. And I would say it was remarkably positive for him, even though a lot of it resulted in non-games. And he is somebody that respects and desires positive skill expression in games. And yes, I've said this about aggro decks in every single game that I've ever played in my fucking life. Star Wars Unlimited, Magic, Flesh and Blood. Anybody that tells you that aggro decks are brain dead are more brain dead than the person they're talking to, because they're not. They take a lot of planning. You have to actually sequence your shit, and you have to get your good aggro decks, and you have to get your turns right. Like if you're going to consistently win with aggressive decks, you have to know how to play them.
If you're playing the literal oops, I'll burn, that's different.
I mean, sometimes you draw, a hand of mountain, triple lightning bolt, fire blast, and you call it a day. Sure.
Right. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, Eugene and I
we've all played against that
it.
guy who's like, my entire deck is, burn spells or whatever. So we're not talking about that. Yeah. But like actual aggro decks do require. I've always argued this as well. They do require a large amount of skill in large part, I find, because your margin of error is catastrophic. Like
radically,
because your entire game plan is to condense the game. Making a mistake has a bigger impact on your flow than it does if you're like a control player playing whack-a-mole. I used to get in very heated debates back when I covered the Elder Scrolls Legends, because a lot of the control players were like, no, control is far more difficult to play. And if you know anything about that game with their rune system, it was not. It was literally like Did my opponent play something? Then I kill it. If they did not, then I finally play a unit, rinse, repeat. That was the entire game.
That's not a decision tree. That's a decision.
That's not a decision tree. Like I could have wrote something to automate it. Whereas on the aggro side, I'm not joking. I totally could have. Whereas on the aggro side, because of the rune system in that game, every time you did essentially 5 damage to them, they would reveal the top card of their deck, and they could potentially like play it as an instant. Like the game didn't have true instants, but they had like the equivalent of shield triggers from Duel Masters, if you're used to that, sure. Right? So in that, there was a lot of navigation around like it might actually be incorrect to attack for 1 point of damage because I'm going to crack this thing. So like you did not go all out even when you were playing aggro in that game. It was very, you had to be mindful. And I have found, I used to be that same way. I'll be honest. In my early 20s, I was the smug, like, aggro is brain dead. I'm going to, Giga Chad you with control. And then I actually started playing aggro and I was like, wow, I can count all the times I lost games because I made one mistake.
Yep.
Right. But like that one mistake was enough because I'm trying to do, 20 as fast as possible. And if I mess up and I'm doing 19 instead of 20, like the game's just over.
I talked about one mistake I made into that Enigma as a Briar deck. It was one.
That was my round 9 into that Bravo. I had Wild Ride, blue, garbage yellow, pummel. And I'm like, cool, I can blow them up and I can pummel this Wild Ride and end the game on the spot. And I discard the pummel, the game was over. It's a Bravo, they didn't have an arsenal. There was no reason that I shouldn't have just arsenaled that pummel and passed. Or just sent a non-draw discard. I think it was a pack hunt. Just attack for 6, let him filter, I guess, and then pass. And I took the risk knowing the risk. Now, if it had paid off, would that have reinforced that I do that again next time? Probably.
Maybe.
Since it didn't pay off, am I going to do it again next time? Probably. But there was a absolute metric shit ton of skill expression in those types of decks, and right. I bonded with Eugene over.
Oh God damn it!
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Over Rhinar being a statistics deck, and we talked about how like Rhinar and Victor are mathematics and probability problems disguised as TCG decks.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true.
I love that you said that you were, still going to do it, because that is me. Anytime that I play a version of just OG Bravo that had Towering Titan in it, it did not matter. Like if I had Towering Titan and I could play it, whether it was right or not, like I would always play it.
Yeah, you have to.
Because you have to.
It's like regicide. You can't not regicide someone.
Right. Like sometimes it's just like, well, I just know that this is like mathematically incorrect, but I also know that the story is worth it. Like if I play this and then I somehow magically draw into Crippling Crush, like it is the stuff of legend. Now instead, usually it's I play Towering Titan, I draw 2 Sink Belows, another red, and I literally can't play anything, but
it was worth it.
It was worth it.
When Victor LLs, if Sindra goes up in representation, I'm going to play Mario or Slippy, doesn't matter. I'm just going to play the...
it's right here. Ready for it.
I'm just going to play the Spurlocked card and grab the... I pick a number, I don't care.
Play Meat Madness or Induce Panic or something?
No, absolutely not. I'm going to grab Regicide and Arsenal it, and then I'm just going to wait until I find Triple Razor Reflex and call it a day. And just...
We're not royal. Or no, we are royal. God damn it.
You are.
I hate everything.
Yeah.
But our shit's not...
you say Triple Razor Reflex, but if you're patient enough, it could be 3 of the 0 cost plus 3 on contract ones, and then a Razor Reflex is the 4th
Razor's Edge
off of your Tunic.
Wait, Regicide doesn't have contract.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
No,
yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, that's why it's got to be Reflex. But, yeah,
right.
Am I going to lose because of it? Yes. Am I going to try it? Yes.
Yes. All right, let's move into Mastery Pack Warrior spoilers. We did get a couple over the weekend. Turns out we're getting Brave Forge Bracers and Grains of Blood Spill joining the reprint pile. I did have a meaningful conversation with somebody about this and was able to kind of put things in perspective a little bit. Because, like, God, why are all the legendaries reprints in this? And I'm like, do you think Warrior's problem is equipment? Well, that ended the conversation really fast, because it's not.
You got to reprint them so people can get cheap copies, since Olympia's going to equip them multiple times.
Correct.
Yep.
And also, it's just one of those things where Warrior equipment's, you know, in the conversation for the best equipment suite in the game. We don't need better pieces of equipment. We need better cards in decks. We have shit in decks. They will not give us a 0 for 4. They have decided we just don't deserve it. You can have a couple of smatterings. You can have some crumbs, as Slick Rick the Ruler would put it. But you can... That's a reference for somebody, and they're going to fucking love that it came out of my mouth. But, like, Blade Flurry. It's a 0 for 4 conditionally. Slice and Dice. It's a 0 for 4 conditionally. There just aren't actual 0 for 4s. So, equipment's not the problem. Them putting reprinted equipment makes the most sense. It's the in-deck cards that need upgrades or need better versions or better whatevers. And yes, I really hope Olympia becomes playable. But joining that, we then, of course, get a new weapon. This one's called Durandal. It is a sword, two-handed, majestic, once per turn, 1 red disc attack. If this has a +1 counter, reaction cards get -1 defense while defending it. Note, this doesn't say defense reactions. This says reactions. Now, for those of you at home that aren't thinking through this properly, Warrior plays a lot of reactions. This is just more Warrior on Warrior crime, like Kabuto, like Blunton. It's all that.
Oh,
You know who else also plays a healthy number of reactions?
Assassin, and I want to fuck him up.
Yep. Yep.
I have not seen enough people mention that as you know, the assassin player. That's been on my mind too.
As the Victor player, who is, you know, I've sent 17 overpower into a Mario, and they say okay, and they block 17 without using a single action card. It's like, yeah. It
also just doesn't do enough until like this doesn't do anything about block cards or anything else. Plus, it has to have a counter, like, but sharpen mechanic. So, okay. And we're because having a conversation about what Warrior's weaknesses are, right? Like, it has some issues into ally classes. It has some issues into illusionist. There are just, and then wizard, obviously. But as we were talking about, it's like what the class needs more of is actually, you know, the attack keyword. It needs more of that. We just don't have it yet. But we have a decent amount of cards still to go out of Mastery Pack Warriors, so we should be able to get a little something out of this still. But it's interesting. You know, I think that MPW is going to be probably one of those sets that people will neglect to pick up because E Warrior, and I'm going to be happy about it because I will pick up a ton of it. Any conversation about Durandal you want to have? It seems pretty straightforward, honestly.
I don't know. My initial impression when I saw it was that I thought, like, legitimately it looks pretty good. I understand that there's a lot of emphasis on, you know, the go again stuff with Warrior, and, you know, do you want a second weapon? Do you want to run ways to make, like, your weapon attack a second time? This, that, whatever. But my, like, gut check knee jerk was, I think it might be runnable in Hala, and I also think it might be runnable in, like, versions of Olympia.
I think Olympia loves this.
I feel like we're going to see some more support for this weapon come in the set, and that this is just going to be the Olympia, and Olympia is going to be either, you know, go tall with it with, like, non-attack actions like his specialization ahead of time or whatever, or I'm just, mostly blocking out and then sending whatever and playing with the
ante
fridge.
on the sword is real.
Right.
Like, it really is.
So that's kind of where my thought process was. I felt like even without seeing anything else, it was just good enough.
Yeah. It's also a weapon for Olympia that, if he has infinite sideboard slots, you can run, God, what was it? Parry Blade
Sure.
into other warriors if other warriors are common enough in the meta. Use your Parry Blade for 2 Parry Blades for some blocks early, and then go and equip Durandal to convert to more offensive after you've got some power stacked up.
Turning the corner a bit. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Brandon, you are our guest today. You do get the floor for whatever you want to talk about.
I want to shout out Tyler Luce.
You should.
Yeah, just in general. But for introducing me and Dex Fan, we played Wizard Cube, 1v1 Wizard Cube, Sunday night. Last night, I guess.
The quilt drafting?
Yeah, with the quilt drafting 1v1 Wizard Cube. And that was insanity. I have never cubed Fab before. And it was a ton of fun. This was a 1v1 cube, or sorry, I've done Runblade Cube, which was multiplayer cube, or multiple people drafting cube.
Yep.
I've never done a 1v1 cube before, and that was awesome. The first quilt that we laid out, so we did 2 quilts. The first quilt that we laid out, Dex and I did not know the card list. The only context we had was the cards that we saw in the laid out in front of us, and some of the highlights, some of the power cards in the first quilt we saw were things like yellow enchanting melody. Yeah. So I grabbed that. I'm like, okay, this is a very low powered cube. I'll also grab this yellow dampen. That seems good. And your options were Blaze or Kano. You could either be Blaze or Kano with this cube, and you could have Waning Moon, or you could have
Crucible.
Not Crucible, Surgeon Ethertide.
Or that's a Surging Ethertide. Yep.
Yep. I'm like, okay, this is a low power cube where it probably like Dan in Magic, like that custom format. Just bad wizard spells going at each other and see who crawls over the finish line. So we had really low power first quilt, and then the second quilt comes down, and there's a Blazing Ether, a Will of Arcana, multiple Eye of Ophidias.
Aether Wildfire.
No Wildfire. And
Okay.
he didn't put Wildfire in, but Stir the Aether Winds, or Red Stir the Aether Winds, Spindle, things like that. And it went 0 to 100 real fast. So doing that at 11:30 at night after the showdown, the long showdown, and the long previous 2 days of Nats before that, my brain was fried. And trying to do a Kano mirror, because we were both Kano, of course, trying to do a reaction speed Kano mirror at 11:30 at night with neither of us being wizard players in any way, shape, or form was fantastic. So highly recommend that cube specifically, but also just one shout out Tyler for doing that. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, so we were I guys having conversations about that because William Knuckles and Tyler were playing it while they're waiting for me to be available to cube during the World Championship qualifier, which I never was. But and so they're playing that cube, and I was talking around it because I was interested, and he's like, "Yep, the options are Blaze and Kano," and then he said, "But if they are a new player, they almost always take Blaze. And franchise players almost always take Kano." And I'm like, that makes total sense. Like 100% on point. But Tyler, loose leaf T in our Discord if you want to shout him out yourself. He does so much for this community. You don't understand the number of websites, the number, including Fabrary, the number of people that rely on his data sets that he makes every single set. Not to mention the fact that he is the person that maintains and created the FabCube website, in which all of these cubes are built on, for the most part. I can't think of exceptions outside of prior to the cubes prior to that website existing, like Jordan's back in the day, and Tommy's Brute Cube that he made back in the day. But it's, I feel like, he doesn't get enough credit for everything he does, and if you get an opportunity, go support him, go support his work, or just say thank you, because again, he's doing way more than you think.
Agreed. It was great. Had fantastic time with that, and we did a I don't know if it's public knowledge, and I can talk about it. She'll forgive me. We did a alpha test of a PvE.
Oh, Mara, it's a Mara's PvE game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's public enough.
Okay. I figured. Yeah, that was so much fun.
It's wild because there's multiple versions out now of different PvE games that people have just like, fuck it, I'm homebrewing.
Yep.
So we have like Charmer and I have a copy of one of them. From
Nice.
One of our.
It's actually really cool.
It's really well done. TCG Ted made one that is based in the Savage Lands that was getting played. I saw Tommy and I believe Alex and Ted playing while we were cubing. And then I know Mara's version, which we were going to play test if Charmer would have bothered to show up for Nationals. But yeah, so like a lot of people have homebrewed the shit out of this after LSS kind of had that flippant response to PvE recently. It sort of lit a fire under the community. Go, fuck it, we just do it our own way. Which, props to everybody that's done that.
Yeah. Mars was absolutely fantastic. Super fun. We almost died so many times, but
perfect.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, and now Brandon, the most important part, pie. So we need to know, what is your favorite pie?
I think I'm pretty boring. It's just pumpkin. I just regular good old pumpkin pie. Not super sweet though. I don't like foods that are way too sweet. In any sort of dessert, ice cream, muffins, brownies, cupcakes, any of it. But a like low sugar pumpkin pie is better than pretty much any other pie I've ever had. As long as it's not like a grocery store one.
See, I think that's very respectable.
It's a pretty boring answer. Like, it's not like pizza or like sushi or other toasts that are out
Hunter's
there.
pie, shepherd's pie. What, sushi is toast? Hold on.
Yeah.
Was that one?
Yeah,
I know that turduckens are salad, and sushi is toast. Fucking Christ.
Yep.
I hate all of this.
I was so excited when you guys were talking about the cube rule, because I have been preaching the gospel of the cube rule for years to people, and it always blows their minds. Yeah, okay. I am. Yeah.
So that's not really a pie. That's a quiche then, right?
No, pumpkin pie is toast.
Oh, pumpkin pie is toast. Okay, just making sure.
Yes.
Okay. That everything was still fucked.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the listener questions, because we've been at this for 90 minutes now. But first one's from Polish.
You invited me on. You knew what you were in for.
I know. First one's from Polish guy Rich. To follow up on the discussion in the general forum, first, do you agree that regular booster boxes need an boost? Short answer, yes. Long answers are in below. So let's just start with the yes or no question. I'm a yes. Brandon?
What do we mean by a boost?
something that makes them more entertaining to open.
Okay, so we're talking like treasure packs and stuff.
Something that makes it so a
Oh,
traditional booster pack, when you open it,
okay.
has a more entertaining feel to open, because the last few sets have not felt good to open.
Yes, with an asterisk.
Okay, Charmer.
Yes, for every set now and in the future except for Bright Lights. That one had plenty of boost.
I hate you. So second question. If
Nice.
yes, what do you think the reasons are? So I think the reasons are a couple of different fold. One, is the nature of humans and their lack of nuance. So they're going to crack a booster box, and if they see a bunch of M's that are unplayable now, they do not have the foresight to understand that that might not be the case in the future. So, and booster boxes are always a negative value proposition. Do not shit yourselves. You are gambling and you are playing against the house. Just making sure that's out there. And they are scratchers, and that's it. So, but scratchers, sometimes you get your money back. Sometimes you make doubles. Sometimes you hit a big one. And there are some sets where that feels like it's not happening frequently enough, and people just like open 3 boxes and never get anything. Whereas, there are enough people that don't realize what it was like before Uprising, where you didn't buy booster boxes, you bought booster cases, because buying a booster box usually meant that it came out of a case that somebody already pulled the legendary out of, and that booster box isn't worth shit. So buying a loose booster box was pointless outside of wanting to draft with it. You bought Flesh and Blood by the case, and that was it. So that changed effectively in Uprising, where Uprising still was pretty close to one legendary per case, but it wasn't as egregious. And as time went on, with especially Outsiders, you could open 24 legendaries in a booster box. But the as time went on, it kind of got to be a closer to 2.5 legendaries per case, roughly, right? And it wasn't near as punishing to just buy loose booster boxes. So that was probably the best time. But as time went on and the expansion slot became a very leveraged tool, nothing at no time in history more leveraged than Omens of the Third Age. The opening cards that feel like they didn't have a purpose at the time made people, upset. And so, because it doesn't, these Majestics you're opening don't fit with the new heroes, and they're coming to fix things or to add cards to heroes that exist that need help, or in some cases to heroes that don't exist yet, or into some cases heroes that living legend out unexpectedly, and we had this card already printed. And or for in some cases, and Pen specifically, cards for heroes in living legend that were printed to help curb or enhance heroes in living legend as a format, but then they sort of had to abandon the format for a bit. So then those cards feel like bad to open. So there's a lot of prescience and issues there too, where if you just didn't print all of these type of expansion slot or these broad-based cards, that would feel good to open. Think Rosetta and opening a Gone in the Flash, a Channel Lightning Valley, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the reason here is people not having that foresight, and also wanting the better cards to immediately build the new heroes, is a big part of it. Brandon, any thoughts on that part?
We are TCG players. We will always want more than what we get.
Oh yeah,
that is
absolutely
inherent to our nature. And I'm one of those people that gets excited when I see a completely unplayable garbage card in the expansion slot, because as the game goes on, it's an eternal game-ish. Those cards, all of a sudden, those are the things that you discover a brand new deck out of 4 years from now, and no one has ever looked at that card more than once. And then you're the person that shows up to an event, and you brought, Rainbow Goo Trap, and a card that has absolutely no utility right now, and you brought it, and it's a usable card in your deck, and people are like, wait, what does that card even do? Those are the things that deck builders love in TCGs. Some deck builders, because there are always people like me who don't play the meta decks. They play to attack the meta decks, and they're looking for the weird cards that help a matchup. If you look at Magic has so many more years of history that you can find decks that use one with a nothing that just discards your whole hand at instant speed. It's not a good card, but if that's a card that is an ingredient you can use at some point, right? But those cards have to be printed first to give that experience down the line. And so when you have things like the not flight path, the new bow that you can attack any opposing hero, yeah, no one's using it right now. The couple of people that play UPF, or if you have like a UPF cube, sure, or Ranger Smash Palace, I guess. So that's not, or yeah, it would be UPF only, right? But those bad cards have to get printed, and they're only bad cards right now because they don't have a use. If they had a use and you wanted to use them, they wouldn't be bad cards. So you want to, like you said, print to the future, and they're just extra cards that are beyond what you would normally get in a pack. They're not legal for your deck anyways in this, so you need to be able to support that, and you need to be able to support old heroes that need the help. Because if you never do that, then the only way that Huntsman ever becomes playable is with a Huntsman Armory deck, where you have to wait until the next Assassin set comes out. You have to wait until the next Guardian set comes out, maybe, for Betsy to return in 3-4 years, when they go back to the heavy hitters type set to get Log. Instead, we get Log now, and Betsy is much, much better. And so, sure, if you only play Lightning heroes, you're not going to be happy if you open a Log. But for the people who, like me, who don't really care about Lightning that much, the fact that Betsy got a Log, and that's a cool card. Some of those other expansion slots, I love that. And I'm also happy with the bad cards. I know not everyone is, but I'm happy with the bad cards because that's something that years from now, we have them sprinkled here and there for people to build with.
Right. Darick?
So I think I'm just going to talk about a different spoke in the wheel, because my personal belief is that, while I don't believe that you can completely ignore a secondary market, I also don't think that a lot of your design intentions should be like catering to the secondary market, because at the end of the day, like, you don't know what players are going to do. And I just think that that's not the dragon to chase. So in my mind, there's two other fronts. The first being kind of what we were just talking about, the kind of play experience. And, you could just say, well, just only print good cards. But obviously, A, it's impossible to do. B, quote unquote, bad cards sometimes do exist to help teach new players. There's like an entire pedagogy about having certain cards that players then know to replace or know how to upgrade from. There's always that kind of onboarding in mind. There's also limited to factor in, draft, sealed, etc. So I am kind of like already of the belief that from a design standpoint, they're already trying to put forward the best set possible that they can. So just telling them be better at making cards isn't really valid feedback, in my opinion, anyway. So that leaves what I would describe as the pack opening experience. Whether you're new or whether you're entrenched, I do think that there are areas of potential improvement here. It's already been said, but I'm going to repeat it. It is just gambling, right? The people that are opening packs for the most part are doing so because we like shiny things. We like gambling. We like the dopamine. So feed the dopamine. How do you do that? Well, I'm not saying you have to outright copy other games, but when I think about a pack opening experience that I have enjoyed more so than other games recently, it's Star Wars Unlimited. Because when you open that pack, any of the slots can be a hyperspace, which is just, normal card, but with a different bordering, right? So if Flesh and Blood packs had normal versions, but then in any slot, one could be upgraded to some sort of alternate border treatment or whatever, I would actually stop and go through every card in the pack instead of rushing to the last slot to see if I care and move on, because that's the experience when I'm opening packs. If it's not for draft or sealed or whatever, my pack opening experience is I open, I go to the back or whatever. It's just, I'm checking the Majestic and the Marvel slot, and then I'm moving on, right? So you have to make it worth someone's time to care about the other slots from a pack opening experience. Again, not talking about limited, just I'm somebody at an LGS and I buy a pack, or I'm at a tournament and I redeem tickets for a pack and I open that pack. What's my experience like, right? So I think that alternate border treatments are an easy way to go. And it's very easy for you to be dismissive and say like, well, won't that tank the value of other cards? Well, I'm talking in, the most common ones that are going to show up are going to be your commons and rares anyway. And those already don't have like a ton of value. And also it's not like the alternate ones are going to become super expensive, because again, using like Star Wars as the milestone, a lot of times the hyperspace stuff is just as cheap as anything else, but it doesn't matter. Mentally, my dopamine fires when I get the cool alternate version. The other thing that I think that you could do if you don't want to do borders, or if you want to do like different levels of chase, right? Because Star Wars, you've got hyperspace, you've got hyperfoil, which is just the foil version of the alternate, but then they had their like collector's version, which they call carbonite boxes. And there were alternate arts that were called prestige cards that were just in that, but they very recently, in the most recent set and going forward, also started making it so that prestiges could be available even in the regular booster boxes, right? So you're just sprinkling in just a little bit of whatever. So again, we don't have collector's edition stuff in Flesh and Blood, and I'm very grateful that LSS has chosen to not go down that route. It's not what I'm necessarily a fan of, but if you wanted to sprinkle in like some neat alternate art stuff, it doesn't even have to, it could just be extended art stuff. Obviously there's a market for that, but I personally think it'd be really cool if they started leaning into one of the things that makes Flesh and Blood super unique, in my opinion, which is the fact that we get red, yellows, and blues. What I would love to see, and I've kind of wanted them to do for a long time, is to take all of this stuff where you've got a cool cycle, and instead of it be the same art piece for red, yellow, and blue, you have the artist do something that's wide and you turn it into a triptych, right? One collective art piece all together, because that also is a visual differentiator beside just the band. Like we've already heard some people say, it can be hard to differentiate between red, yellow, and blue. Sometimes when you're on a broadcast, it can be hard to see due to lighting, glare, whatever. It's just another visual indicator. But also, as somebody who, again, like I like to collect stuff, and I've always been a sucker for like diptychs and triptychs and whatever, it's aesthetically pleasing when you put it in the binder and it makes a cool little thing. So even if you were just like, hey, we're going to print regular ones, but also there might be, like these chase versions of, the commons and rares that are in cycles, because those are usually your Majestics are like, I'm just the one card, but your commons and rares are in cycles. Turn them into like a triptych and let people chase it. And then you might have people just like start, because again, to me, it doesn't even have to be the monetary value. You just want to get people to like not rush through your pack. You want them to stop and care about what they're opening. So you got to give them a bit more worth looking at. And so that's the part that earlier when you're like, does it need a boost? It's like, yes, but I don't think it needs like a monetary boost, because Logan hit the nail on the head. If you're somebody who only cares about like EV and whatever, then you should just not be opening packs. just like only when you're required to for limited events, and otherwise you should just buy singles. It's the way it's always been. It's probably the way it always will be. But if you're somebody who likes opening packs, it's because you like the experience. So how do you make the experience better? And that's what I would like to see improve.
Yeah, so we kind of like jumped into the third questions, which is what solutions would you propose, and what are the current most effective and least effective product offerings? So solution wise, the thing that struck me is, and this was brought up by Dom, actually, a member of the Discord and one of my good friends here in Des Moines, is he brought up something that I hadn't thought of in Flesh and Blood, and that's the overnumbering. Because that is something that actually, I do not like Riftbound the game. Sorry, Darick.
That's fine.
I actually think Riftbound's really fun to open, though. And part of it...
Okay, it has good and bad.
Sure.
There are definitely good bits. As somebody who's opened a lot of it, there are, again, things that I think that they could do to improve as well. But
my thought process went to, okay, what if there is an overnumber sheet? And what if that overnumber sheet, replaces a token slot when it appears? And so you could open a pack that is... has a majestic and a legendary and an overnumber in it. Like that starts, and that like you have that sheet run. So, and not all the overnumbers are chase cards or anything like that, and you can do things like print Gone in a Flash as an overnumber in another set, because it doesn't matter. And I do want to give another shout out here in just a second after I get through this thought, but I felt like overnumbering is potentially a very good solution to this issue, because you can do alternate art treatments there too. You can even do alternate things within the overnumbered sheet itself. You can do those same kind of special versions that we talked about. Now, it doesn't solve one of the problems that Darick brought up that does also make a lot of sense, which is once you're at a certain point in opening a product, you go to the last two cards. You don't even give a shit about the rest of the pack. You go to the last two cards. And this doesn't solve that. But what it does do is it gives you another release valve for some of these things that does also make people excited to continue, especially if there's a guaranteed overnumber in a box, and that could end up being foil or a different treatment of foil, and you can just... And that is something that people will chase and kind of give that feeling of opening early fab when you were hunting for the legendaries and you're tearing through packs. The quick shout out I want to give, and I don't know if you noticed this, Brandon, but they put literally on, and I'll post a picture in the Discord, on the deck registration sheets, a list of the card numbers that were not legal to play. And I immediately, once I saw it, I snapped a picture of it and I sent a message to Josh and said, I don't know if this is you. If it is, thank you. This is exactly right. And this is perfect. And props to doing it. If it wasn't you, please find the person that did it and thank them for me. Because that is so much easier to understand when it's printed on the red sheet. Hey, you can't play these. And that's why they're not on here. So great job to put that on the sheet now so that it is referenceable by anybody. But Brandon, go on.
No, I was going to say that there is precedent for doing something like what you said, Charmer, where you have these alternate versions of cards that are the chase versions that are not, or that have a cheap equivalent, right? Like we have the left and right clave. For Hunter's Clave, you have the left and right, like Mark of the Huntsman. You have the gem pack versions of cards. You have regular boulder drop. In EA, you have regular boulder drop from gem packs and so on. You have the rewind, the backwards rewind. That's something they could have reprinted in this. I mean, they didn't reprint it in the set, but that's something they could have put in this overnumber thing and just reprint the backwards rewind. The only thing you get into is with following their reprint policy.
Sure.
But as long as they can follow that, great. If you just took, you could take completely unplayable cards like a Victor's yellow block hat, golden glare, and just have it, just it's more yellow, or like there's gold falling out the top of it, and it's just very slightly different. I would chase that in a heartbeat. I would pay $15 for one of those, and that card is unplayable for no matter what you do. Card's terrible. But those are things that will get people interested in these cards that aren't even playable to go and collect them and get them that connection with the game, connection with the hero, or just someone who just opened the pack for the first time and they're like, hey, I don't know what Flesh and Blood is really. I opened this Omens pack and why is this card completely backwards with its text?
Which was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the very first pack I ever opened, I had a Marvel Sandscour Greatbow. It looked so clearly different from everything else that I knew it was, fancy
Special.
in some way.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was like that rare. So I just like put aside with the rest of the rares and stuff. And then someone was like, "Oh, hey, holy crap, that's really good." So, and then I immediately looked up who could play it, and I started building Riptide. So like that was cool for me, and yeah.
I still remember opening
my memory of it as a new player.
Yeah, I still remember opening an Eye of Ophidia and being very confused because I didn't understand the rarity symbol. I'm like, this must be nothing, and I was wrong. As far as what are the current most effective and least effective product offerings, I would have to say most effective is actually the Silver Age decks, is the chapter decks.
Yes. Yep.
I think that's not really a question. And least effective offerings.
I mean, it's got to be the Viserai and Prism LL precons, right?
I mean, sure, but there's plenty of that, like where you can kind of dig into finding these little niche cases. But if you're talking about something that is just like a widely available, not just a one-time weird thing, it's almost hard to not say booster boxes right now, but especially if you're talking about like game pieces. But you could also say to a degree, I mean, you can't even say armor decks because they are a good product. I think that's the thing. I don't know that.
I'm split because I want to say pen, like Compendium of Wraith as a product.
Sure.
It is horrible for entrenched players. Absolutely god awful, complete waste of your money for a premium in air quotes product. For new players, incredible. And kind of going back to our thoughts on Silver Age as a format, right? Personally, as a competitive player, I do not care for Silver Age. I don't like it competitively. I only had fun because I was playing Rhinar and it's a roller coaster. That was it. But for what it's doing for the game and bringing new players in, absolutely fantastic. And so if Penn is doing that, if Penn did that for new players, great. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with you, Logan, that I don't think that they have bad products. I just think that they have misses with good ideas. Like I could point to, Bright Lights as an individual set and say, like, hey, that wasn't that great. But also, I still don't think it was a bad idea. I think that the only way that you know definitively whether a set like that is ever going to work is by trying. Like, I think that genuinely taking big swings is a good thing. And I would rather them do that than not. I could point, to, I don't know what the conversion metrics were for, like Dorinthia versus Rhinar.
Classic models, sure.
Right. Maybe it was good. Maybe it wasn't. They're going to have access to that data far better than me. I don't think it was good. But again, like, I'm not going to pretend to know. But also, at the time and even now, when I think about it, like, it also made sense as a product, And they learned from that and iterated on that. And now that's, I think, how we ended up at our Silver Age stuff. But I don't think necessarily that they have bad product ideas. Just sometimes the execution doesn't hit the mark.
Right.
But I mean, that's also life. So.
Yeah.
this
We'll
might
move
be
on. Oh, go ahead.
this might be less of product, like physical specific product, but like philosophy of the design of the game and getting it to a market. Something that Magic did has always done, or done for the past 15 years, basically since Fire Design. And if people don't know what Fire Design is, go look it up. It's not great. Um, I hate it.
Very bad.
But basically, every new Magic set that comes out, or at least once or twice a year, every new Magic set has some card or set of cards that completely destroy whatever is currently happening with the game in most formats. And then the next set has something more powerful than whatever just came out. And you have the like anime protagonist scale, where
Yeah.
suddenly it's over 9,000 is the weakest enemy, and you have gods upon gods upon gods, right? And for the past 2 years, I've only been playing about 2.5 years, but we've seen, especially this last year, right? High Seas came out pretty strong out of the gate. Gravy took off after a while, and then we had Super Slam, which was pretty weak. Cool, great ideas. Lyeth and Toughnut, awesome ideas. Pleiades, and I mean, even just giving Guardians instance that block, like, cool. It's a new idea, right? Or is it suspense? Cool idea. Adding new mechanics. Not a ton of impact competitively. Not worth it to buy or collect, but trying new things. And the limited, obviously, no limited for it really. No limited at all. Compendium, no limit at all. Limited at all. Argue some impact competitively, right? And so now, after a drought, we have Omens, and Omens limited sentiment has been really, really good, including from me, someone who doesn't like lightning heroes. I don't like wizards, and I don't like rune blades. I love this limited format. And is that because we haven't had limited in a year? And it's just, okay, we had bad limited with Super Slam for what little there was and nothing. And it's, okay, this is better than bad or non-existent. Or is it because it's actually good? And so if you have that sine wave of high-powered set, medium power, low power, and sporadically have these high power sets, or sporadically have these medium power sets, and then lower the bar every once in a while, now you don't have to continually make the number go up, right?
Right.
You don't, and that might be a trend that we are seeing, is release these lower power sets, lower power heroes even, like Marlin, and then just drip feed them instead of taking things away.
Yeah, up and to the right is not a design philosophy. It's very
yes,
bad.
Exactly. And I think that goes into the offerings themselves, like even the Lyeth Sage precon, right? It's terrible, but as far as competitive viability, but it's cool for new players. As Lyeth gets more stuff, then that precon becomes more valuable to new players, and I think all of that factors into the product design.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on. Next one's from the Orc Knight. Do you set your clocks to 24-hour format or 12-hour format? For those that use a 12-hour clock, why do you hate logic? I am not a savage. It is set to 24-hour format.
I am a savage. I was at the Savage Lands too long today playing
Yeah,
yesterday
you play Rhinar.
playing Rhinar. Yeah. 12 hour. Also, I play Guardian. I have a hard time counting past 3, much less 12.
That's fair.
That's not true. I play Guardian, and that's why I use the 24-hour, because I sometimes swing with, like, pulverizes, and
yeah,
I know that's 2 o'clock's worth of damage.
I have had to use my calculator on my phone as because I didn't have enough dice to represent my mites before, when I was playing the combo Victor into a Fatigue Pleiades, and last ditch effort for 58 go again.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do the last question here, which is from Johnny Pastrami. What is your go-to cooking recipe / specialty when you are trying to impress someone? A hot date, another couple, a Joshua Scott you lured to your house, for example. I don't know how much either of you cook. I cook a ton. And so a go-to, so if we're talking beers on a porch, making something that we can just kind of eat at our leisure and is not a sit down meal, I usually will make a some Thai steak, so marinated in oyster sauce with garlic, MSG, a little bit of sugar, grilled so you get a nice crust on it, in strips. So you get a finger food with sticky rice, dipping in a thing called gel, which is a fish sauce, cilantro, hot pepper, MSG, sugar sauce. And it's fucking delicious. And you sit there and just pound beers and do this out in the heat, and it's awesome. If we're doing something sit down, there is a local Des Moines specific specialty called steak de Burgo. What steak de Burgo is it is a filet mignon that is served with a white wine sauce. Now, depending on where you're at and whose recipe you decided to call the thing, it is either a strictly white wine butter sauce or a white wine butter cream sauce. I typically make it, it's very herby. I tend to make it as the cream version and not just the white wine butter version. Gives it a little more depth. The idea is you are just searing and then kind of slow cooking the mignon so that it comes with no real seasoning on it, even just in butter, just a nice sear, so that it expands a little bit with the muscle fibers because it's such a tender cut, even though it's not super fatty. And the better marbling just really sells this. And then the cream sauce can kind of soak into the steak. As you pour it on, serve it with like some fingerlings or some asparagus, just depending on your mood, or what you feel like doing with time. And it is absolutely divine. It's 10 out of 10. I can do it. Probably do it with my eyes closed at this point. I've done it so many times, but it is a remarkably delicious sort of local thing to Des Moines that nowhere else really does. So that's my other go-to.
That sounds incredible. Can you ship me some?
I can arrive at your house and make it.
Deal. A trade offer. You do that, and I'll say I can make a lomo saltado.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good trade offer, honestly.
Yeah. I make a mean lomo saltado. That or my other go-to is I have a 2-time award-winning chili that is a sweet barbecue or a pulled pork barbecue sweet chili.
There we go.
The secret
cinnamon
ingredient,
or no?
A little bit. A little bit. Okay. The secret ingredient is 2 full bottles of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I know what you're up to.
Yeah. A bottle of Angry Orchard in their chili spices, and then a pulled pork shredded in a stand mixer for even shredding.
Yeah, just make sure that's consistent. Yep.
I won 2 chili cook-offs with it, and it is so easy to make. And my husband makes a Carolina Reaper infused hot honey.
There we go. Now we're fucking cooking.
And I make homemade cornbread with it, with diced onions, jalapenos. We put the honey on it, and then you chop up the cornbread, put it in the chili.
So I have this thing. Mm-hmm. It is this was a gift from Dom, actually. It is a travel pepper grinder. So I can just tap the little thingy and give myself the right amount of spice. This one's ghost pepper. That's their 5. This is their medium. I have another one, which is their 9, which should just say, go fuck yourself. But this is my little I'm going somewhere and I know that it's going to be like, they're going to have a spicy dish that I'm going to be like, this ain't spicy. And I can just go click. I'm like, we fixed it.
So, next time we're at an event in person, I'll bring you some of the hot sauce that he made.
Yeah, would love.
The Reaper's garlic, onion, incredible.
Yeah, a little bit of vinegar. Yeah, make her run. Too vinegary, I'm out. But yeah, if you go at it though, if you give me the right consistency, yeah, all day, every day, twice on Sundays.
Yep.
Charmer, what's your go-to? Domino's?
No, not unless I'm in Kyiv, where I can get cream cheese in the crust. Let's see. If it's like not full meal, again, kind of depends on the time of the year, but summertime would be like a combination of stuffed grilled peppers with all like different types, right, assortments, but it's usually some level of either cheese or cream cheese, spices, sometimes some meat. We'll do some chicken or whatever. If it's not summertime and there's no like grill access, but it's then also not going to be like a heavy meal, usually some type of quesadilla, just because it's easy to do a bunch of them. You just do the whole thing and cut it up. It's basically just pizza, right? It's very easy to just hand out.
In the cube, what is quesadilla?
Quesadilla, if it is, if the edge is like so as a top, a bottom, and then the like sides, like you still have the side of it, then that would be a taco. But if it's just the top and then a layer of cheese or filling and then the bottom of it, then it's a sandwich.
But if it's folded over, then it's a calzone, or is that a taco?
No, it would be a taco. If it's completely enclosed, it's a calzone.
Okay, just making sure that's still absolutely fucking asinine.
Same thing for full meals. Summertime, assuming that they eat seafood. For me, it's a grilled citrus salmon. Big fan of grilled salmon just to begin with, but I like mine citrusy and not just lemon. Like I do it with like lemons, limes, oranges, some tahini.
So we're almost cevicheing it, like
kind of, yeah.
Okay,
but it's really good that way. And then if it's not summertime and there's no grill, then it's chicken lasagna, shredded chicken. Like I hand shred it. I do cream cheese instead of ricotta cheese just because I like the creaminess of it. And just a healthy amount of like mozzarella and provolone to begin with. If I want to throw greens in there, then it's actually usually broccoli florets is my go-to.
That's not bad. They reduce down small enough that
like I cut as much of the stem off so that it's literally like just the other part, and then when you're kind of like making the mix before you put it into the layers, it's fine. But
almost like a Florentine to a degree. Point.
So yeah, that's mine. And then that one's usually good just because it's, again, it's like pan-based. A lot of it, if it comes down to it, it's usually just more like, how do I prepare enough for everybody, right? Sure. So, the peppers thing, very easy to just throw a bunch on a grill. But I don't know if I said it before, but I usually also throw on like zucchini. Yeah. Because I love grilled zucchini. The quesadilla thing or whatever, it's easy to make a bunch. Lasagna, it's easy to just make a giant pan of it or whatever.
When I'm doing the steak and sticky rice thing, like, don't get it twisted. We're talking, I'm making 5 to 10 pounds of steak, and I'm making usually 3 to 7 pounds of rice. So we're feeding an army.
Yeah, it's the same with the chili. I make it in Instant Pot, and pressure cook it for 40 minutes. That's all it takes. Yeah.
That was
feeds an army.
Feeds an army. That's all you need.
And by an army, I mean feeds my husband for 2 days.
About a couple of days.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's thank some patrons and get out of here. It's been 2 hours and change. So good job getting over a couple of marks there. Nicely done. We have our associate producers, Andy, Sindra, Anthony, Izor, Jacob, Octothorpe, Posofsky, Heiner, Sleep Coma, and the Jumbo Chihuahua. For our executive producers on up, we have Lance Good Thrust, by Storm, value member of the Patreon, Diana the Green Cosplayer, John, Charlie, the Delusion Data Analyst is our possum supporter, and then we go into the Chargers Chamber of Charcoal participants. We have Trevor Baker, no doubt that one. He'll be on soon. Polish Guy Rich. Matt, we need to get Matt back in here. The Jackal will be on relatively soon as well. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out. It's always a blast, always a good time. And then El Dorte, the Hammer, who was on a couple weeks ago. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Patreon, you go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. There are tiers. Just pick one. I don't know. If you are in need of contacting us for some reason, complaints, whatever, complaints can go into Flesh and Pod Legal, which is the trash can next to Jordan Kennedy's desk. All other comments can be emailed to us at fleshandpod@gmail.com. And if you really need to get a hold of us, you can search on BlueSky for Flesh and Pod, but really just join the Discord. It's free. There's a bunch of bullshit in there, and it's great. We just had a very long discussion about the pack topic in our Discord as well as several other things. And then all of a sudden people started whipping out their bling. And so now it's just turned into a bling channel over in general for a little bit. I also contributed to that problem. But Brandon, where can they find you?
Probably at an event, losing clashes, usually.
That yellow pummel gets you in trouble a lot.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't even a clash. That was just a discard.
No.
Yeah.
I had to show you how to win clashes with your deck. Remember once?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Team event. I was running a yellow pummel and it got me.
It got you twice. So.
Yeah. I wiped that from my memory.
That's fair. A little Clorox helps out. Charmer, where can they find you?
In the Discord.
Yeah.
At IMJORMAN.
Thank you.
Been a while since I put my handle out there, so make sure that you at me and say hello.
Yeah.
Tell me you miss me.
And make sure you tell him what you really think of him. If you need, I guess that's it. I don't really have much else to say. We will be doing. I am looking at vendors for challenge coins. We will be doing a lot more shirts coming soon. Our merch guy at gamergoblin.gg got his t-shirt printer back up and running, thank God. It was down for a bit, but we're back up and running. I had to hang out with Matthew a little bit this past weekend, and so he's back up and running, full tilt. And I've gotten another request for a playmat, and I'm going to do it, and I fucking hate it, but I'm gonna do it. So, but I'm gonna make it funny. So, we'll have details of what that's gonna be at some point in time here, but I hate that I'm doing it. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And yeah, I guess we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.